Persimmons are really interesting growth-wise. They just seem to do things like no other trees do. So I wanted to show something today that I've noticed on a number of my trees that, again, I just don't see on other types of fruit trees or other plants I'm growing. And I guess I'd call it a leader replacement. So here's a proc in the front yard. I've actually grafted some other varieties on the top, but there's some fruit in here. Harvested a few. It's quite tasty. It sort of has a little reputation of not being as intense flavored, but I've been enjoying it. So initially, this was the leader. And in the second year, suddenly this branch pushed out and it was growing the same speed as this, and then it took off. And before I knew it, it was 5 feet. It was taller than the main leader, not quite as thick, and then was basically just replacing it in height. And now I've gone ahead and grafted up onto the top some Gora Roman Koch, and just using this to experiment with some things. But anyway, this is just one example of this replacement that they seem to do sometimes. I'm curious if others have seen this or if it's just something freakish happening here. But let's take a look at another tree. Right, so this is JTO2, a young tree. And let's see if we can get in here. This had been the main stem. Coming up here, lots of good branching. I was looking forward to this developing this season. But this, from the side, started to come, and I pinched it to try and stop it and get the others to take back over. And then I pinched it again here. So twice this season I tried to slow it down, but as you can see, it is already taller and it's almost as thick. So it's doing the same thing that Proc did. It's just, it's fascinating that something that is not the dominant leader takes off to take over. So let's look at another tree. So JTO2 was a hybrid. Proc was Virginiana native, fully, and this is 146, which I'm hoping to grow up and over this giant Cado blackberry patch. This is 146, or Lehman's Delight, is about the most precocious, certainly, and I got some last year on a tiny little twig of a tree. Should take them off, but you know, sometimes you want to get a taste. But here, another example, this was the main leader. And you can see it coming up. But below that, a new sprout started. And you can see that it is now, look at the past leader on the right, the new leader on the left, is massively overtaken in size. And again, starting from lower on the tree, not from the dominant leader. And it's just taking off and taking over, which is fine. I'll prune the other away in the dormant season. I'm sort of let myself let these plants go without any summer pruning, just to trying to get them size up quickly and get good roots. So it'll keep taking off, but it's interesting to see. Now let's look at another hybrid. So this little guy here, this is Honan Red crossed with the male Rosienka from Cliff, England. This is a lesser known hybrid, but hybrid nonetheless. And here again, a new sprout from way down here. And it is it is not from the Virginiana rootstock. I am pretty definite, just looking at the leaves themselves, which, you know, there's a micronutrient deficit going on here. I'm not sure which one it is, but I'll need to fix that for next year. But again, it's consistent on all the leaves, so just even the growth and the same deficiency showing. And again, just looking at the leaves, these definitely seem to have that khaki influence. And you know, so it's close. I've looked carefully, but I'm pretty certain that this is not just pure Virginiana. And so anyway, this is another hybrid. Appears to be on the road to do the same thing. I will trim this off in the dormant season, so I won't let it keep going. It hasn't gotten as far as some of the others, but anyway, I'm just curious if others have seen this and what they think. And what do you think, Ziggy? Got any thoughts on this? Yeah? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Anyway, if anyone else is seeing this or knows why it happens, again, just on persimmons, but where the dominant leader is being overtaken from lower growth, and maybe it's just something happens when they're young. Maybe it's just something I'm seeing here, but it's quite interesting. Anyway, anyone has any thoughts on it, I'd love to hear.